Hello, everyone. I have with me right here a beautiful fire quartz. I keep this with me now at all times, at least during the meditations I do. It keeps me more centered. Yeah, hello, everyone. I am Agni James, and I'm going to be doing a guided meditation for you today. We're going to be discussing philosophy, having a good time, maybe talk about some ancient pre Socratic philosophers from the school of Elea, namely Parmenides and his student Zeno, but we will see. Hey, Christine the Bean is here. How's it going, Christine the Bean? How are you today? Love the fire quartz. Yeah, right? It's pretty badass. This was an awesome gift I got from JT Farms. She sent this in the mail to me. Like, how awesome is that? So now, like, I've been holding it during these meditations, and it feels good just to have it in my hands. It feels like it's like the perfect fit for my hand. I can like make a fist and close it almost. Yeah, just I can just close my fist around it. It's like a good. It feels good to have it in there. Are you, by the way, Christine? Are you into a lot of stones and minerals and things, crystals and all that? I don't know. I never asked you that. You are. Oh, nice, cool. We'll have to talk about that sometime. That's actually one area where I don't know. I don't know much about. I don't know anything about crystals and all that. But a lot of my friends are into it, and I feel like it can't hurt, right? It can't hurt to have a fire quartz with me at all times, right? Unless, of course, it's gonna like, drain me or something and like, end up killing me in some way. Let's see. You got away from it for a while. Oh, really? What would you get busy with just life and that kind of thing? Uh, yeah. What's going on? Like, tell me about these mysterious gems. I feel like I'm a Diablo 2 player, so like all my knowledge about gems is from like Diablo 2. You need like the sapphire, for like cold resist. You need the what is it, the ruby, to get more life and things like that. That's like my knowledge about gems. I think you can learn everything you need to know about gems from Diablo 2. But there was no fire quartz in Diablo 2, so I'm a little bit pissed off. They should have had a fire quartz, and then I would actually be able to know about like what exactly a fire quartz does. So I'm kind of left out because of that. Yeah, so that's what's going on. We'll do some philosophy. We'll do all sorts of good stuff today. I don't know. I feel like kind of exploring the universe, and seeing where everyone's at and what everyone's up to, and just going from there. Today was kind of weird for me because I only slept like maybe 2 hours or 3 hours. I went to sleep late, and then it was one of those situations where you're lying in bed, you're not tired, and you're like, well, should I get up or should I not get up, right? And I was having some back pain. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. Well, like, let's see if I can do something about this back pain. So I got up. I started doing stretching and yoga and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, the back pain started going down, and I was feeling pretty good. And then I was like, you know what? I could just go to a Bikram yoga class right now. So I drove out to my Bikram yoga studio, and I did a Bikram yoga class. It was nice hot yoga, 105 degrees. It felt good on my body, especially because it was like 20 something degrees when I got there. So I was outside in 20 something degrees Fahrenheit, came in and was in 105 degrees Fahrenheit, did my hour and a half class in 105, and then walked right out into the 28 degree Fahrenheit weather, and it felt good. Like my whole body was just like steaming. Now, when I walk out of the studio, even in winter, I'm shirtless, right? I just have like a pair of basketball shorts on, and I'm shirtless, and I'm walking out, and people are calling me superheroes and shit. And they're like, dude, you're like steaming, man. You're steaming everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's how I do it. I like that cool down. It's a great cool down for the body. So like, and then I just walked to my car, and yeah, some people are like, well, what if your car gets breaks down or whatever? I keep a coat in the car. I'm not an idiot. I have like precautions that I take. But like, it feels good. I mean, everyone's afraid of the cold. Not everyone, but a lot of people are so afraid of the cold. They're like, oh no, what would happen? I can't go outside. It's so cold. I'm just gonna stay inside. But you know what? If you psych yourself up and you're just like, fuck it, I choose not to be cold. You can actually convince yourself that you're not cold. This is something I learned a few years ago. I was outside and I was like cold and I was like shivering and I'm like, man, I'm fucking cold. This sucks. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna be a weakling. I'm gonna choose not to be cold. And then like as soon as I made that connection in my mind and made that switch, I wasn't cold. I didn't feel cold. I was just like, now I feel like the same except I'm not cold at all. Like, why don't people do this? Why don't people just choose not to be cold? And of course, if you're going to be out in the cold, for like a long period of time, I'm sure it would get to me. But like, it's like people can do this. We have a lot more power than we think. It's mind over matter at the end of the day. We can choose to not be cold and not feel that cold. I've done this with headaches. So nice. Yeah, yeah, it is nice, right? I mean, our minds are super powerful. I've done this with headaches. Like I was sitting, I remember one time I was sitting, I had this terrible, it was like a migraine going on. It was this horrific headache, and I was like miserable, and I was suffering, and I was sitting there thinking, man, this sucks. This headache sucks. Like I can't think, I can't do anything right now. This is terrible. Like when's this shit gonna go away? I was contemplating taking some Tylenol and Aleve and all that, all that shit to try to alleviate the effects of the headache. And then I was like, you know what? I choose not to have a headache. I choose not to suffer from this. And then as soon as I made that choice in my mind, like the pain was still there, but I wasn't suffering. I wasn't suffering at all. It was so weird. Like it's weird to have pain and not suffer. And that made me realize that there's a very important distinction between pain and suffering. A lot of times the two get conflated, especially in Western culture. People say, "Oh, I'm in so much pain," and what they mean is they're suffering a lot, right? People usually aren't in a lot of pain. They're like, "No, I feel perfectly happy." But I was in a lot of pain, and I felt perfectly happy. I was like, "Wow, this is kind of interesting. I have the same pain in my head, but I'm not suffering at all. Like, how could that be? Why don't more people choose to do this, right?" And it was just breaking that connection of associating pain with suffering. And by the minute I did that, I was fine. And then the cool thing was, the pain then started to go away itself. I think like what happens is, we have the pain, and then we choose to suffer because of the pain, and then that suffering kind of feeds back into the pain to a certain extent, and then it kind of makes the pain worse, and it kind of is like a vicious cycle. So they just kind of spiral out of control like that. Let's say you say you need to be aware of what's going on, but don't need to be controlled by it. Yeah, absolutely, definitely, right? That's totally how it is. You don't need to be controlled by that kind of stuff. I mean, it's important to have that level of awareness. Be like, okay, there's this pain in my head right now, and I can feel it. But you don't need to allow yourself to suffer. That's a different thing. We're in charge of how we feel. Now, a lot of people don't understand that concept, but we are in charge of how we feel. Whenever we feel a given way, it's because we're choosing to feel that way. Now, is it easy when you're in a lot of pain to choose to not feel that way? Absolutely not. It's one of the most difficult things on the planet, right? We're actually hardwired to when we feel pain to actually not be happy, right? Because there's survival value in that. But at the same time, if you're just sitting around with a headache, I mean, it can be done, and it's going to actually help you out in that kind of instance. If you're like a kid growing up, and you touch something that's hot, and then you get burned and you suffer, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you never touch it again because it's has a negative effect on your ability to reach reproductive age and pass on those genes to your offspring. Then that's one thing. But if you're just sitting around with a headache, I mean, why not choose to not suffer, right? If you're in a situation that there's nothing you can do about it, right? It's interesting. It's interesting how much power humans have, how much power we have, and how we just kind of forget that sometimes, and we just allow ourselves to be controlled by external events when really we're the ones that determine whether an external event is good or bad. We give it a judgment value, right? And a given X happens in the world, and we say, oh, that's a negative thing, right? And then a Y happens, and we're like, oh, that's a positive thing, right? And then a certain state of affairs occurs, and it's like, well, oh, that state of affairs was unfortunate, so now I'm going to feel bad, right? My team lost the Super Bowl, my team lost the championship, so now I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to allow myself to feel bad because of that, or my team won, so I'm going to allow myself to feel great, right? Or my politician got elected, so I'm going to allow myself to feel good, or my politician was defeated, so I'm going to feel bad, right? I mean, that's kind of weird to me. That seems weird to just ascribe to take your emotional standing and put it external of yourself, right, of your being, and say, all these things happening out in the world are going to be in control of my overall level of happiness. I don't like that. And I mean, maybe it's because I'm big into I'm a control freak, right? Maybe it's because I'm big into actually being a master of myself, right? Self mastery. But I don't know what it is. I just don't like the notion of being controlled being controlled from things that are external of myself. So I choose not to do that. I remember I used to be a really big Cleveland Cavaliers fan because I'm a big LeBron fan. I've always been a big LeBron fan. I remember I've been watching LeBron since he came up with the Cavs, and basically now I'm a Lakers fan because he's on the Lakers. Wherever he went, over the years, he went to Miami. I was a Miami fan. Wherever he went, I was always like a fan of that team, right? And I remember it was actually no, I was actually watching the yeah, I was watching the Heat. I was watching the Heat one year, right? And this was not the year they won the championship. I was watching them and like they were getting beat, and I was like, man, I feel terrible. This is really distressing, I think the Spurs were beating them up, and I was like, man, this is really, I feel like shit. I feel terrible about this. I was watching it. Nothing. It was like nothing was going right. Nothing was going right in the game at all, right? And then all of a sudden, I was like, you know what? I choose not to feel this way. This is stupid. I'm not going to allow myself to be a prisoner to my emotional state to be, contingent upon whether this team wins or loses. I choose to just observe the game and watch it and not allow my emotional state to be affected. And sure enough, immediately I detached myself from the emotional state of being affected from that game, and I just watched the game and enjoyed it. And like even though like my team was getting beat and ended up losing, I had a great time. It's like we can do that. We have that power. We have that ability, but people typically choose not to use it, and it's so helpful. It can be so good. Especially in a situation that's out of your control. Like if you're watching a team, you can't, influence whether or not that team wins. You're just a spectator, right? So why should you allow your overall well-being to be affected by it? Just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. But yeah, anyways, that's just kind of and mindfulness helps you do that. If you do things like meditation, and if you do things like yoga and qigong and kumnaye and tai chi, all the mindfulness things, you improve your ability to focus. You improve your ability to see the big picture of what's going on in reality, and you can kind of hack your brain more. You can hack your mind. You can go in there and be like, oh, you know what? These certain thought patterns are not serving me well, so I'm going to get rid of them. Fuck it. If these thought patterns are, don't have any utility and just make me feel unhappy, why would I, hold on to them, right? Or, hey, I've been acting in this way, right? And these actions are not benefiting me at all, so like why do I still act this way? And then you just say, I'm not going to act that way anymore. And you can break these patterns. With it. It kind of reminds me of a book that Check Me Out is reading, called The Craving Mind. I think she might have just finished it up before she went on vacation, but she in the book it talks about the connection between mindfulness and getting off an addiction, right? So like mindfulness techniques are actually very they have a lot of causal efficacy in helping people battle addiction, helping people overcome like smoking cigarettes, right, and doing other drugs, right. Mindfulness is super super helpful to if you're going to try to get off a drug or any kind of addiction that you have. And in that, it kind of reminds you of like, hey, if you use mindfulness to break an addiction, if you can use it to break an addiction, then you know what, you can use it to do a lot of things, right? You can hack your brain. You can use these mindfulness techniques to hack your brain in all sorts of ways. So we have this ability, and it's just a matter of actually choosing to use it, right? And actually you have to know about it, right? I mean, shit, when I was younger, I didn't know about that. I didn't know I could just like, if I had a raging headache, I could just be like, you know what? I choose not to suffer from this headache. And then all of a sudden it just goes away. All this shit just goes away, right? Most people don't talk about that. I think maybe it's because pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know about that, because how can they make money off you if you're just going to like choose not to have a headache and then it's gone, right? I don't know. They probably can't make money off you that way then, right? And at the end of the day, that's what they're there. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say, you're going to suffer because you have this headache. Not, hey, we can show you how to choose not to suffer with the headache, right? But that's just kind of the culture we live in. Let's see, what else is going on? What's going on in the world with everyone out there? Christine, how's life going with you? How's existence? Did you get to see your nephews today? I was contemplating going for a walk at Waterfall Glen today, but I did not. Oh, you got to see him. Nice. Cool. Awesome. How was it? Was it a good experience? You tend to always be pretty positive when you get to spend time with him. And I learned something interesting about Waterfall Glen today as well. So I've been going to this place for years, and the place has two waterfalls, right? So it's Waterfall Glen, right? That's like why the place is called Waterfall Glen, right? You would think, right? Prima facie, like everyone in the world would think that, right? But it turns out it's not. The place is called Waterfall Glen because the guy who fucking designated the place to as a forest preserve, the guy who like made the place a forest preserve, was named Bud Seymour. Or Seymour Bud Waterfall. That was literally his last name. It has nothing to do with the fact that there were waterfalls there. So it's so ridiculous, to think that there just happened to be some dude whose last name was Waterfall that like they named the place after, and then the place actually has waterfalls. I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of what's been going on with me. And then I also I did some physical therapy because my arm up here has been kind of messed up. It's weird. It's like a weird messed up though. It's like it doesn't hurt like when it's over here at all. Like it feels perfectly fine. But when I stretch across my body, I feel it pretty intense here. Or when I stretch like up and back, it's like real sore and achy right there. It fucking sucks. I hate injuries. If I didn't have injuries in my life, I would be like one of those big bodybuilder dudes, like who's fucking like just the most intense like physical specimen possible. Because I love working out. I would work out, 12 hours a day if I could. But I'm always getting hurt. I'm always getting hurt my whole life. And then I work out, I get hurt, and then I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to take a break. And then like I lose some of the gains I get. And then I work out again, get hurt. And I'm doing it right too. I've talked with people, my whole life in the fitness and health community. I don't know, maybe I go too hard or whatnot. I don't know what it is. I just get like really intense when I'm working out, and it's hard to keep my composure with it. But I think it's just my body, just bad genes. My back fucking has been hurting since I was a little kid. I mean, what am I gonna do about that, right? It's just how it is. It's the roll of the dice. I was actually thinking about that a lot lately. So much of life is luck. People like to attribute to maybe you don't get enough sleep. Maybe, right? Hey, that's actually funny that you said that because that's what came up in Imbalanced Physique's stream, right? That's the card I pulled. It said I need to get better sleeps. But here's the thing. I've been trying to get better sleeps for the last 20 years. I mean, what am I going to do? I've like tried like everything. I keep trying. I've tried like different beds. I've tried, using a CPAP. I've tried sleeping on the floor. I've tried taking melatonin. I went to a naturopath and she gave me stuff for my sleep. I've tried massage, yoga, meditation, cutting out, screens before bed, listening to healing, sounds and sleep type meditations and meditations that are supposed to help you get to sleep. I mean, nature sounds. I've tried, having sex before bed. I've tried. It's like every time someone's just like, oh, you just chamomile tea. Every time. Yeah, you gave me some acupuncture. Those of you who don't know, Christine the Bean is an acupuncturist. She is a phenomenal acupuncturist. And I felt more relaxed, but I don't think you were actually targeting sleep in particular, right? You were targeting I think it was like arm pain or something. I was having like tendonitis in my arm. Maybe we'll have to try that at some point. I'm sure like the points, whatever points you can use for sleep, right? Is that the case? There's probably like certain like points that you can put the needles in that help people get to sleep. Well, it takes more than one treatment. Yeah, I mean, I might be down for that. I definitely. I mean, we haven't done acupuncture in a while. I want to do a stream, Christine. I've been thinking about this, like playing this idea in my head of streaming a session where you're like sticking the needles in. I could just we could bring the table in right here. I'll lay on it, and I'll be like, I don't think I should be totally naked. That would probably be like not smooth for my Twitch career. But I'll be like, moderately dressed, right? Shirt off, right? And you just stick some needles in me. Maybe you could stick some in like my forehead to make it more interesting for the chat. I could just be sitting. What if I'm sitting here? Could you just like stick some in my head like while I'm sitting here? Every subscription, I get a new needle stuck in my face. How about that? That could be like, yes, you'll do it. Yeah, that might be the move. every time someone subs, I get like another needle stuck in my face. I'd look like the guy from the Tool's Undertow CD, from the CD cover, right? The CD booklet in there, man. That's a good one, right? He's got all the acupuncture needles. Paul Diamore, he's got all the acupuncture needles in there, right? I'll just be sitting there with acupuncture needles all over my face. I mean, why not, right? I mean, what else do I got going on? Not really much else. All right, where are we talking about here? I don't even know. Maybe we should talk about, should we talk more about philosophy? Should we talk about the school of Elea? That's where Parmenides was from, and that's where his student Zeno was from. And they were the Eleatics. They were pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, Parmenides is my favorite philosopher. He's a cool dude. He is the grandfather of metaphysics. He was the first person to write a logically deductive, to give his first attempt to write a logically deductive philosophical argument about metaphysics, a metaphysical argument. And he was trying to come to understand what could be, what exists. Zeno, yeah, not Zeno the Stoic though. This is kind of interesting. There were invisible number. It's a good thing. There were two Zenos actually. There's two Zenos. There was Zeno who did the Zeno's paradoxes, and then there's another Zeno, Zeno the Stoic. Though it's kind of, and they were both into philosophy, so it was kind of interesting. But yeah, we're talking 500 BCE. So we're talking Parmenides, his student Zeno, the guy that made the paradoxes. And he was interesting because his paradoxes actually lasted for something like 1,800 years. People could not solve his paradoxes until calculus was invented. And then once calculus was invented, they're like, oh, here we can solve these paradoxes this way. And like one of his big ones was the the tortoise and the hare or whatever. I think it was tortoise and the hare or tortoise and Achilles. I can't remember. But anyways, the deal was it was basically this tortoise. That was and Achilles, I think we're going to run, right? So Achilles, runs to a certain point, and then let's see. I've read a lot about the one about the tortoise in math. Yeah, right. That's Zeno's paradoxes, and I think his name was just Zeno of Elea. I don't know if he had an actual. I don't think they went by last names. Like I don't think Parmenides even had a last name at that time. He was Parmenides of Elea, right? So yeah, so basically, yeah, Zeno. So Achilles runs right to a certain distance, right? So he's like here, like let's say they're racing to like all the way to here, right? So he runs to like here, and then the tortoise comes and like goes like half the distance to him, right? And then he's trying to catch up to him, and then he runs like here, and then he like runs half the distance, and then like. The idea is if the tortoise keeps running half the distance, he'll never actually reach the goal of whatever he's going to. I don't know why I made that so convoluted. So basically you got this tortoise and he's moving like half the distance to something, then another half, then another half, and another half. And like each increment is going to get, infinitely small at the end, right? But he's still quite never going to reach the end if he just keeps running half the distance. And it wasn't until calculus was created that actually was able to solve that. So it's pretty cool, though, that he made a paradox that took 1,800 years or so to actually solve. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, and he made these paradoxes to try to promote Parmenides' theory. Like, how awesome is that? Like, you have, like, your student is a mathematician that comes up with mathematical ideas that are used to help solidify your metaphysical theory. I thought that was one of the most badass relationships in the history of man. You have a student that like is a math genius and is able to come up with that stuff. So yeah, that was Parmenides and Zeno, and those were like the two main Eleatics, and they were on the time of like all the pre-Socratics. And pre-Socratics is obviously just simply before Socrates, right? So you had like Thales and who else? You had just like the whole school. There are a bunch of different ones. Heraclitus. So Parmenides believed that all was one and nothing can change. And then his not foil, but like the person who basically he was in conflict was like Heraclitus, who was like, hey, everything has changed. The nature of reality has changed, right? So you had these two guys. One said nothing can change, and everything that does change is not real. And the other guy said that all of life is nothing but change, right? So you had that contrast, and it was a really cool time for philosophy, right? That's 500 BC. It wasn't just philosophy, but like religion was like springing up all over the world, like different religions and different philosophical ideas. Some people think there was something pretty mystical about the 500 BCE and what was going on during that time. It was pretty neat, pretty neat time to be alive. I wish I could have been alive during that time. I probably would have joined one of those schools, maybe the Pythagoreans or something like that. And by the way, that was like a cult. Actually, it was kind of intense. Like people think of that as just like mathematical notions, right? That's because that's what we're taught in school. But that was like a very spiritual cult. It wasn't just about math. But anyways, all right. So that's the school of Elea, pre-Socratics, and then we had Socrates come up, and a lot of people don't know this. Socrates never wrote anything. He actually thought that kind of polluted the philosophy. He thought it should be done in an oral fashion. his student was Plato, and Plato's student was Aristotle, and it's just basically that's how it worked back then. Everyone had like a student, and sometimes your student was great. And I think Alexander the Great was Aristotle's student. I think that was how that lineage played out, right? But yeah, and then they just came up with great ideas, and they're like, hey, we have all this stuff to explore. We have all these cool ideas that we can use from philosophy to understand the world, and we should do that because that's part of the human condition. We have this insatiable desire to understand the things in the world around us, right? And science actually comes from philosophy. Without I mean, like biology, chemistry used to be alchemy, and all those used to be part of philosophy, and then they branched off once it got to a certain point. Psychology used to be a branch of philosophy. All of our sciences. Astronomy used to be astrology, which was a branch of philosophy. All of our sciences came from philosophy, and a lot of other stuff has come from philosophy. Computers. We wouldn't have computers without philosophy. How cool is that to think about? It wasn't until Russell and Whitehead came up with formalized logic, right? That we were able to make computers. Hey, last night's ghost is raiding. Awesome. Hello, last night's ghost. How's it going? Good to see you. Let me give you a big shout out. A big shout out to you, last night's ghost. How is everything going with you? Thank you so much for the raid. Much appreciated. I was just talking about the benefits of philosophy and how a lot of people know this, but we wouldn't have computers without philosophy. Philosophers came up with computers. Last Night's Ghost is an amazing streamer here on Twitch. She's like such a positive, awesome force on Twitch. Super kind, wonderful human being. I check her out whenever I can. She does awesome streams where she tells like ghost stories, and she shows scary movies, and they do they talk about it and stuff like that. It's just always a fun time. I mean, and they're neat. You know what? Some people say storytelling is a lost art, but I disagree. I think there's still plenty of amazing storytellers out there, but they're not kind of in the public sphere as much. Like we need to get those stories out there. We need to really tell people those stories, and I respect what you do. How's everything going? What did you guys do today in your stream? Yeah, storytelling does make us human. Absolutely. By the way, those of you who don't know me, I'm Agni James, and I do philosophy and meditation on Twitch, and I'm also big into chess and yoga and things like that. But anyways, let's get back to you. Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely, storytelling does make us human. In fact, people used to sit around the fire and tell stories all day. That was what human beings did for tens of thousands of years. That was like what we did. We would sit around the fire and tell stories. And now we have we sit around the screens and watch television or something, right? And that's like our new story device. But it's not as cool as like sitting around a fire with someone who's like a really good storyteller, like Last Night's Ghost, and just hearing stories from that person. That's like a much cooler way of doing it. Hey, Swiss R is hosting. Thank you so much, brother. Let's give a big shout out to Swiss R. Swiss R is a good friend of mine. He is a streamer also on Twitch. He does a lot of travel streams. He shows beautiful landscapes from Switzerland. He takes you around, shows you amazing architecture, and just shows you the scene, the scene in Switzerland, which is cool because I had no exposure to Switzerland before I met you. So that was pretty awesome that you were able to show that. And also like my understanding of like geography is so bad. I never even realized until I looked it up on a map that Switzerland borders Italy, Germany, and France, right? Switzerland's like right there in the middle. Like that's fucking intense. You guys like are right around like those like three like big powers, and you're just like probably like you probably have their influences like merging into your country, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything about it, but it just seems like that would be the case. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. I had no idea about Switzerland until Swiss R came around. You're promoting your country well, man. You're promoting your country well. You're doing a good job. You're teaching people. Yeah, we are Europe's original gangsters. Yeah, right. And you guys are like neutral. You guys are like cool. Everyone likes Switzerland. Everyone's just like, dude, that's like a cool place. You guys don't fuck with anyone. You're not like storming off in other countries like trying to take them over. You guys are just like chilled. You're like, dude, just like relax, let's just hang out. Let's like hang out, and you guys come check out our country. We got some beautiful mountains and beautiful architecture, and we'll just hang out and be cool. We'll be peaceful with everyone. Like there need to be more countries like you. Why aren't there more countries like you guys? I mean, I'm from the U.S. and we're a bunch of assholes here. we like we're like ridiculous in the U.S. Man. We're like our thing is we try to make ourselves like appear like we're really awesome and like kind and like good to the world. We're big into appearances, so we'll put in the media. We'll like make it sound like we're like these amazing people for the rest of the world. But in reality, we're just like infiltrating all these countries and have all these weird covert ops, shit going down, and like we're trying to influence elections all over the world, and we're doing all sorts of crazy shit, and we're torturing people. I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. But you guys are like genuine people, You're just like the real good deal, which is super important. Let's see. You even defended the Pope since history. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know there was any kind of relation with you guys and the Pope. That's cool. Swiss Pope guards. Really? Huh. Interesting. Hey, One Sluggy's here. How you doing, One Sluggy? Good to see you, man. How's everything going with you? How's life going with you? Haven't seen you. I did see you around recently, actually. So this is good, man. We got the whole crew in here now today. We're gonna be jumping into meditation in a minute. I wanted to finish one thought on philosophy, because one of the biggest knocks against philosophy is that it doesn't do anything. You go and you get a graduate degree in philosophy and you just like sit around and like talk about and ask questions, and like you get nowhere, right? It doesn't have any value in the world, right? That's like the biggest knock against philosophy, and that is absolute bullshit. That is absolute bullshit, and I can prove it to you because logic is a branch of philosophy, and Russell and Whitehead came up with the notion of formalized logic. They formalized logic, and when they did that, they were able to create computer language. And without computer language, we'd have no computers. They were the ones that gave us the tool necessary to create computers. So we wouldn't have computers without philosophers. We'd all just be sitting around. Maybe we'd be sitting around the campfire, telling stories. Last night's ghost. Maybe it would be better without computers. But anyways, we have computers now because of philosophers. So definitely, give them thanks. If you like your computer, if you like your phone and your computer, you can thank philosophers for that. We have a lot of other things too, philosophers. Like we're supposed to not torture people around the world now because philosophers came across a while back and said, hey, you know what? It's not a good idea to torture people. Maybe we should all like agree to this. And human rights started coming into fruition because the philosophers were like promoting that. And now whether or not it's actually followed all the time is another matter. But like sometimes it is, right. There's probably less torturing going on because of philosophers. So yeah, let's see. One song you say, life is good, hope all is well. Yeah, good man, good to hear, dude. I'm glad you're doing well. You're an awesome dude, and I like that that everything is going well with you. Yeah, things are going pretty well with me. Had a good yoga session today, which tends to happen whenever I go to yoga. It tends to be good, and then I got a bunch of shit done around my place. All right, so I always come out here real intense right off the beginning. I have like a lot of energy and a lot of intensity. And then we slow things down. And we lower the intensity. And we go inward to our heart chakras. And we begin a meditation. So take a comfortable seat. You can sit on the floor in lotus pose. You can sit in a chair. Or you can sit cross-legged. The main thing is to find a seated position that is comfortable for you. And then gently close your eyes and take a few deep breaths on your own. I have a Buddhist chant that I play that has a chime that goes off every 2 seconds. And you can use that to help regulate your breath counts. take a few more deep breaths on your own while maintaining good posture. Inhale through your nose, gently raising your belly. Exhale through your mouth, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in through your nose, gently raising your abdomen. Breathe out through your mouth, gently lowering your abdomen. Stay focused on your breath. Inhale, gently raising your belly. Exhale, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in, gently raising your abdomen. Breathe out, gently lowering your abdomen. Keep your awareness on your breath count. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. The breath calms the body, and the body calms the mind. Be mindful of your breath. Visualize yourself sitting on a mountaintop. Watching as the clouds move through the sky beneath you. Two clouds merge into one, and one cloud separates into two. The clouds move through the sky and disappear over the horizon. Those clouds are like your thoughts. Thoughts come into being, exist for a while in conscious awareness, and then disappear from your mind. That is the nature of human thought. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all that is of no benefit. The breath calms the body, and the body calms the mind. Be mindful of your breath count. When thoughts arise in your mind, visualize them as clouds moving through the sky and disappearing over the horizon. Return your awareness to your breath count. Your essence is love. The manifestation of love is light. Your purpose is to shine your light on others. Awakening the inner light within them. And they will shine their light on all whom they encounter. Until the whole world is glowing radiantly as one once again. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all that has no benefits. Keep your awareness on your breath count. As thoughts arise in your mind, do not judge them. Instead, visualize them as clouds moving through the sky and disappearing over the horizon. Returning your focus to your breath count. And the place of perfect peace within you. In meditation, we go down beneath the level of conscious awareness because you are not your thoughts. We find what is truly you. Your essence being perfect love. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eye sight. Keep your awareness on your breath count. Your foundational essence is pure love. The brightest light is a manifestation of that love. Your purpose is to shine your light on all whom you encounter. Awakening them from the dark dream of separation. And they will shine their light on all whom they encounter. Until all of humanity is healed and together once again. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eye vision. Keep your awareness on your breath. On your next inhale, travel down beneath the level of conscious awareness. And as you exhale, release any thoughts that enter your mind. Go to the region of your heart chakra. Feel the love that emanates from that location. Experience the warmth that envelops your love. Feel the perfect peace that is a result of your perfect oneness. For fear cannot enter where there is no separation. And you are eternal love. Inhale, gently raising your belly. Exhale, releasing all that is of no benefit. Breathe in, gently raising your abdomen. Breathe out, releasing all ego which obscures your third eye vision. Keep your awareness on the perfect love within you. On your next breath, travel down deeper within your love. Allow the perfect peace to wash over you. Give yourself permission to experience the unboundless joy that resides there. Allow yourself to experience the perfect oneness in your heart chakra. In this place of perfect monism, there can be no division. For in this place, you are one with all of creation. This place is your eternal home. And all of creation resides there with you. Inhale, gently raising your belly. Exhale, gently lowering your belly. Breathe in, gently raising your abdomen. Breathe out, gently lowering your abdomen. Keep your awareness on your breath. On your next breath, travel down even deeper within your love. Find the center point of your love. Feel the warmth that emanates in that location. Feel the perfect joy that flows from your center. Focus on your center point. And when you're ready, go on through. I'll see you on the other side. At your center point, you are eternal. At your center point, you are divine. At your center point, you are one with all of creation. At your center point, you experience perfect peace. Here in your center, you remember who you truly are. Here in your center, you remember how you came to be. Here in your center, you remember what you are. For here at your center, you remember your purpose. Feel the vibration that emanates at your center point. That energy is divine. You are the perfect love that flows eternally at your center point. Flowing eternally from the source of all creation. This is your home. And here you are immutable. In this place, there are no boundaries that can contain you. For the infinite knows no limit. You shine everywhere, in all directions, to infinity. For that is your natural state of being. Give yourself permission to experience your perfect peace. And allow yourself to experience unboundless joy. For those gifts have been given to you forever. And what is eternal can never be used up. You are perfection. And that can never change. Inhale, allowing yourself to be flooded with love and light. Exhale, releasing any residual ego from your body and mind. Inhale, giving yourself permission to experience perfect peace. Exhale, releasing all that does not serve you well. Inhale. Exhale, releasing all stress and tension from your body. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing all stress and tension from your mind. Inhale, taking the deepest breath of the day. Exhale, releasing any fear and worry from your mind. Breathe in. Breathe out, releasing any stress from your body and mind. Gently open your eyes and return to the present moment, bringing with you the peace from this meditation throughout the remainder of your day. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing the sacred space with me. I am truly honored and humbled to be here with you as your meditation guide. I am grateful that you came to meditate with me in this place. Thank you so much for your self-care. I love each one of you unconditionally, and I hope that you feel more peaceful and joyful than you did prior to the meditation. All right, how was that for everyone? That was 44 minutes. It's a pretty good amount of time. I feel like with a 44-minute meditation, you can really get somewhere. Swiss R, excellent. All right, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Namaste to you too, brother. Namaste. Last night's ghost. So glad that you were able to raid and that you were able to enjoy the meditation. Really appreciate you. I appreciate you and I love you unconditionally. Thank you so much for everything you do. Christine the Bean, well, thank you. Namaste to you as well. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you feel more peaceful. Danny John, amazing. Danny John, you're here. Wonderful. The fact that you're here makes me smile and feel good. I'm glad that you got something out of that. I'm glad that you feel well. Hey, I have a shout out. I didn't actually type that in, but I wanted to. It says, hi, Danny John. I have an automatic shout out for you now. I should put in something different every time that it says something different every time you pop in, because I appreciate your presence. I think that would be kind of fun. I should do that for everyone. That'd be kind of neat, actually. Whenever someone types something in chat, the first time they do, I have some kind of weird thing that's specialized for that individual person. It'd be pretty neat. All right. Oh, by the way, yeah, Danny John, Swiss. Danny John's not actually a streamer. Now you're just having fun. Yeah, I know. It's funny. I love when you do that. Actually, you go into people's channels and you do that, and it's like everyone's kind of like, wait, what? What's going on here? Hey, Danny John 1818. Thank you so much for the subscription. Much appreciated. Wow, 7 months in a row. You might be our leader. I think you're the leader, Danny John. Congrats, much appreciated. Let's see. So as you say, yeah, you do that like Vamos Terra Time. Yeah, when Terra Time is writing. Dude, I love Terra Time streams. I love them. And like I said, I always go in there and I redeem the cat sound right off the bat. So she knows it's me. It's like the really intense like cat screech sound. And then she's always running around saying, "Where's the cat? Where's the cat? I don't know where the cat is." All right. Well, this is wonderful. We had such a wonderful group of people, an awesome group of people. Thank you all so much for being here. The fact that you did the work, that you did the meditation, that you showed up, even if you just meditate for a couple minutes, the fact that you do it is going to have tremendous benefit for your overall well-being. So thank you, because I care about you, and I want you to feel more peace, more joy, and more love in your lives. So thank you so much for being here with me and doing the meditation. Much appreciated. All right. So now is a fun part. Now is a fun part because I actually get to shut up. I come up here. I'm loquacious. I have a lot to say, and then now is the part where I actually shut up. So let's see. Here's the part where we raid someone. Who do we got here? We got some people out here. People out here to raid, I think. Let me look. Let me check out what's going on Twitch. I also have to go back to the main thing because OBS sometimes doesn't include everyone. All right, I'm gonna ask Twitch. How fun, Swiss? I just called you Twitch. You know what? It's because you were saying you are Twitch for a long time. And I just called you Twitch. That's pretty funny, man. That's pretty funny. I was gonna ask you for someone to raid. Dirty Beanbag. I don't know that person. But Danny John, you're saying whoa, Danny John just said Tab's voice with 3 exclamation marks. I can't resist that. I don't know who this Tab's voice is, but I'm gonna raid this person because there are 3 exclamation marks, and if I don't obey the 3 exclamation marks, I mean things could get really heated. Swiss R, if Dirty Beanbag is someone that you like and want me to raid in the future, I will. But today I got the 3 exclamation marks. I gotta raid this Tab's voice. Fitness and health streamer. That's perfect for today. All right. Okay. So thank you all again so much. Totally appreciate you and everything that you do in your existence. And I love you. I love every one of you. So let's send some love to Tab's voice, whoever this person is, and we will see each other sometime soon. All right? Have a beautiful day. Namaste.